My son-in-law threw a grenade into the middle of trust I had in him with infidelity. And I'm struggling with how to handle a conversation. Do I have a conversation? Do I not have a conversation?
Thank you for being the single most mature mother-in-law I think I've ever talked to on this show. Woo! What's up? This is John with the Dr. John Delony Show. Man, I'm glad you're with us today. Talking about relationships and mental health and whatever else is going on in your world. Whatever's going on in your world. You want to be on the show, give me a buzz at 1-844-693-3291. It's 1-844-693-3291 or go to johndelony.com/ask. And don't forget to call or write your local congressman for my hot topic bill I'd like to introduce, that you can't buy clothes at Hot Topic and wear them in public if you're over, what did I say, 25? We'll make up an age. 19? That's probably good. Yeah. I think that's wise. All right, let's go to Mary in Little Rock. Hey, Mary, what's up?
Hey, John, long-time listener, first-time caller. How are you?
Nobody ever says that. That's fantastic.
Are you serious? I figured a lot of people say that.
No, it's because I don't have any long-time listeners. They listen once and they're like, I'm never listening to that stupid show again. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good.
So what's up?
Thanks for taking my call today.
Let's save the world.
Okay,
What's up?
All right, I'm going to give a really brief question, and then we can kind of dig into it if you want to, or you may have a really brief answer. So here we go. My question is, how can I be supportive of my husband's hobbies without feeling kind of resentful about the fact that they mainly take him, away on the weekends to do stuff?
Ooh, good question. Okay, tell me more.
So we have been married almost 3 years. We've got 2 kids under 2. We both work very intense full-time jobs. His job, he has kind of erratic hours, so he's not home a lot at night and some weekends anyway. And so that's why I kind of put so much emphasis on our quality time on the weekends. And then, every few months it's like, hey, I'm going to pick up this new hobby. And I'm like, why? What are you doing? Anyway.
Okay, there's a few things at play here, okay?
Okay.
1, 2 kids, 2 and under, right? Or 2 kids under 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. Y'all are in a season that is not going to last forever, okay?
Right.
So I want you to, let that be the sidewalk that we're going to walk on together. This season will pass, okay? The second thing is, I want to hear from you about quality time. When you talk to your husband about quality time, tell me how that conversation goes.
When I say, I think we need to spend more time together, it's doing stuff as a family. And it's not being in the same room while he's on his phone or, while I'm entertaining our kids. I really try, I try and explain what quality time means to me, and I don't always feel like that gets heard, I guess.
Okay. So I'm going to make myself a little note here so I can circle back to it. Okay. Tell me about his hobbies. What are we talking about here?
Hunting, fishing, all the things that go along with those, mainly.
Hunting and fishing. So we're in the summer here, so we're getting to the end of fishing and about to start the hunting season, and you're already anticipating losing him for the next few months, right?
Well, I try to be understanding about certain seasons of hunting because it's seasonal, and I know it's only a certain period of days where he can do certain hunting, and I'm like, okay, but for example, a few months ago, he traded some piece of hunting equipment for a fishing kayak. And then it became, I'm going to go fishing every weekend in this new fishing kayak.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, there's something beneath the time thing here. What is it?
What do you mean?
He makes declarations and switches hobbies with some regularity. So is it the spending that's driving you crazy? Or is it
No, it's not.
Okay, is it the perception that you're stuck at home? You could say, I'm just going to go kayaking every weekend, but you are looking at these 2 little kids and you think, I can't. I'm here. And is it the freedom that he feels like he has
Yes.
to just head out? Is that the
Yes.
resentment?
I think that's what it is. And it's not that I have all these hobbies that I want to be doing, because, I love spending time with my kids, especially since I don't see them much during the week. But I think it's the freedom, yes, of he can say, well, I'm going to go do this today. And I'm like, okay, I guess you're going to do that today.
but
I can't really do
the
that. I
resentment
don't
there
feel like
is,
I can.
and it's a common resentment. It's not that,
Mhm.
well, you said it perfectly. It's not like you want to be out hunting. It's that you want him to want to fulfill your picture of what a Saturday would look like.
Yes.
Here's two incredible things, okay? Number one, my guess is, and you could say, John, you are wrong. We are good at this. If you're good at it, you would be in the 1% of the 1%, okay, of married couples with two kids, two and under. Have you heard me talk about pictures and words here?
Yes.
Okay. Is that
I'm
you
a
have
long-time listener. Come on.
okay, that you have a very clear picture in your head of what time is with family time looks like, and that we're not doing a great job of communicating that to your husband. And he has a very clear understanding of here's what I need, and he communicates that with, I'm going to go kayaking every day. Because my guess is kayaking or getting out in nature, or whatever the thing is, also fuels a couple of things for him. Number one, he has two kids, 2 and under, and he feels like he's lost his wife. Number two, he's got two kids, 2 and under, and he loves his kids with all of his heart, but he's got some skills that he doesn't understand. And so it's natural to want to lean into the things that I'm good at. I know how to hide in the woods and shoot a deer. I do not know how to entertain a 7-month-old. And without some intentionality, I'm just going to lean this away. And if this hobby doesn't fulfill it, I'll find this one. And this one, I'll fulfill it. All we're doing is just trying to find something that's going to fill that gap. And now we're just talking past each other. My guess is he would want more than anything in the world is to be a participant in the life of his wife and kids. And being out in nature, going out and exhaling and finding hobbies and things like that are really important for people. So it's twofold. You need to find some hobbies.
Okay.
And y'all need to come to terms with, hey, so I'm a big hunter. I'm out. I don't talk about it a lot because I know people don't like it. I'm out in the woods a lot. And this past fall, I traveled all over. And so my wife and I had some conversations like, here's what I need. I need your presence here. And she's got things that she likes to do. So I need to go do my hobbies too. And so I had to make peace with, I'm on the road a lot. So the time I'm going to spend in the woods is going to be less this year. But it's a conversation we had together. But it was very needs-based. Not, I need you here just sitting on the couch. No.
Right. Okay.
I need your son and daughter need their daddy. And here's what that looks like. And I need you to be on the floor with us. I need you to be here for 4 hours because I need to go do some hiking on my own, right? Instead of saying, well, you get to do this and I get to do that. And so now I'm just pissed off and I'm mad at you. You know what I mean? Because then it becomes about the hobby, and the hobby is not the issue. The issue is I've got a picture of what this weekend's going to look like, and you have a picture of what the weekend's going to look like, and now we're just talking past each other. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yep, that makes perfect sense.
And all of that on top of your body's a human jungle gym. Nobody's sleeping, and you're working. He's probably not made the adjustment like most young dads don't make the adjustment on your domestic responsibilities increase 50%. I need you here, and here's what I need from you. Here's what this looks like. And so having a conversation about what needs look like, and y'all have to do that probably every month or two because they're going to change. These kids are going to change like crazy. Is that hard? Can you hear that?
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
But you don't like that. Tell me why I don't like it.
No. It's not that I don't like it. It's a communication thing that we need to work on. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I had been focusing so much on the actual hobby that I don't think I was zooming out and looking at maybe it's not the fact that he does X or Y. It's idea behind why he's doing it. So I think that makes sense.
Or let me say it this way.
Okay.
There's him walking in all gross and dirty and stinky, covered in camouflage, whatever, at dark. And he had said he's going to be back at 2 or 3, and he gets back at dark. And you're mad, and you start telling yourself stories about being mad and what he's doing out there, and he doesn't appreciate all the crap you do. And you work a job too, you're right. So the story machine's running, and he gets home, and you're like, I can't, no more hunting, no more.
Yeah.
There's that. And then there's a Tuesday evening after the kids are down, and you'll exhale, and you have a weekly, what's our picture look like for this week meeting? And you look at him across the table and say, I miss you. I miss you. And everything in our world has blown up. It's all different. It's good, but it's all different now. And I'm tired. You're tired. We're both working really hard. I miss you. And we got to rebuild something new. We got to recreate something new because multiple human bombs have gone off in our home. And so we're gonna have to rebuild something new. That's a totally different conversation. Because it will eventually get to the story I tell myself is every free moment you have, you'd rather spend it not with us.
That is the story I tell myself.
Right. But if you tell him, you'd rather be hunting than being with your kids.
Yeah.
Now I'm lobbing grenades. If you tell him, the story I'm telling myself is you would rather be sitting in the woods covered in a dead animal's blood than holding your kids. That's the story you're telling and that's a much different approach. One of those turns him on his default setting, and he's gonna get Sunday dad grumpy, right?
Yeah.
Or he's gonna get angry and yell. Which one is he?
Yeah. Angry and yell.
Okay. Yeah. You're always yelling around here. No. Hey, it scares me when you yell. See the difference there? It makes me feel unsafe when you yell and scream like a child in the house. I'd much rather you go for a walk and then come back and say, hey, here's what I'm struggling with or wrestling with. Those two approaches get to the same issue, but one is a path of war and one is a path of, hey, help me out here because I don't feel safe. Or the story I tell myself, I'm taking ownership of this. See the big difference there?
I do.
Okay.
And there's a big difference. You're right. Yeah. I see it.
I find that it helps me to write things down before I enter into a conversation with my wife on these topics. A good example happened just yesterday. And by the way, the more we make these regular occurrences, the better our relationships get. Kelly and I and Joanna, who works in PR here, we did a quick 28-hour trip, 36-hour trip to California, which is 2 time zones out, right? It's a long trip. We had an incredible experience with the Mind Pump guys, and we'll have some shows coming out about that later on, but great trip. The trip was awesome. And as we were coming back, we got home at 4 a.m. is when I rolled in. And I had a picture in my head of what homecoming was going to look like. It's 100% a story I told myself. Made up the whole thing. And then it didn't happen. And my daughter's going to art camp, and my wife was getting her ready, and it just didn't happen in the way I had pictured it in my head. And then I started getting defensive about it. And then all of a sudden I find myself getting mad. Like I just, not mad like you, not yelling, but I feel mad in my chest like, man. And then I had to pull the thread on that very quickly. And it was, oh yeah, I told myself a story about what homecoming was going to look like. And it doesn't look like that. Okay. And then I can grieve it real quick and be like, man. And then my wife and I are going to have our weekly meeting, and I can say, hey, this fall when I'm traveling, here's what homecoming, like I get these pictures in my head of what this looks like. And then I feel like it does. Right, so I can take ownership of this and realize that she didn't do anything to make me mad. My wife didn't. My daughter didn't. My dogs didn't. The chickens didn't. I owned the whole narrative walking into this. And in this case, maybe he is, like I've got friends who are hunters and fishermen that they disappear. It's their mistress. They cheat on their spouse with their hobbies or playing guitar or whatever the thing is. I get that. And that's a hard conversation that everybody's got to have, but it's always done better with the story I'm choosing to tell myself is this. That's a great entry point versus if you go hunt, right? And man, Mary, it's lucky to have you. It's lucky to have you. We'll be right back. Hey, Dr. John Delony here, and it's that time again. School is back, summer is winding down, and it's time to get back to the routines we threw out the window back in May. Pick up, drop off, get up early, no more ice cream for dinner on most days. Your schedules are probably about to go bonkers, but I've got a reminder for you. For the love of all that is good, make sure you prioritize sleep. For your kids, for your marriage, for your job, for you. Getting 7 to 9 hours of deep, rejuvenating sleep is one of the best things you can do for your health. Not doom scrolling on Instagram or zoning out with Netflix all night. We all need sleep. And for me, good sleep starts with a great mattress. And that's why I love DreamCloud mattresses. And right now, DreamCloud is making it easy with a great deal just for our listeners. $599 in accessories plus an additional $250 discount. That's a total of $849 in accessories and savings. I'm talking pillows, a mattress protector, and luxury sheets to go along with a great mattress. So go to dreamcloudsleep.com/Delony or dreamcloudsleep.com and enter promo code Delony to get your new mattress today. All right, we're back. Let's go to Becky in Austin, Texas. What's up, Becky in Austin?
Hey, Dr. John, just setting down the bricks.
All right, way to go. What'd you set down?
Oh, I have been following you from the beginning. You and AO talking about what your podcast name was going to be, and you and your team have just helped me so tremendously with personal growth. So hats off to you guys. You have a gift.
Thank you so much.
So, the purpose of my call today, my son-in-law of 2.5 years threw a grenade into the middle of trust I had in him with infidelity.
Oh.
And I'm struggling.
He cheated on your daughter?
Sucks. Yeah. And I'm struggling with how to handle a conversation. Do I have a conversation? Do I not have a conversation? I know that it's their thing and I'm not in it. I've shared with my daughter quite a few of your podcast segments, explained to her I was just so mad. I was so mad. And she was devastated. I was devastated. But, I said, these things happen. Mm-hmm. And it's part of life. And you can grow past it. You can grow together. But he's sick and he needs some help. Mm-hmm. And she knows that. And he knows that. And I haven't seen him. And I knew at the time I was so mad. Don't talk, text, or type. Man, just stay away. Because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. But I'm going to see him, and I don't want it to be where it's this elephant in the room that no one talks about. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything I can tell him that he doesn't already know. Mm-hmm. I don't want to lay guilt and shame, and I just don't know how. I don't know how to approach it.
Oh,
and
man. Well, thank you for being
question.
the single most mature mother-in-law I think I've ever talked to on this show.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's because of you.
Yeah, right. No, I know there's a lot of mature mother-in-laws that call, but your wisdom here is incredible. It's just incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm trying to think of where to start here. Relatively, I instantly know where I want to go with this, but I want to circle around it just for a second.
Okay,
what was your relationship with this young man before this?
They were together for about a year before they got engaged. He was not from our town, the area where we live, so I didn't know him. I did not know his family. I've noticed, he's always welcome in my home. I felt like I had a good relationship with him, but I noticed that I think he was uncomfortable ever being in the same room with me by himself.
Okay.
I noticed that if my daughter left to go, they have a little toddler. If she went to go tend to the baby, he would get up and kind of follow her.
Mm-hmm.
And I always would ask him, how's your work? How's your family? Just kind of, scratching the surface and just general conversation, but no in-depth, deep conversation with him ever. I know he's had a lot of issues growing up in his family, lots of dysfunction, with this same infidelity issue. So I'm kind of connecting all the dots.
Yeah.
He knows it's wrong. He swore he would never do it. And then he did,
that happened.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the only relationship you can impact is your relationship with him. And so I want you to spend your energy not trying to fix their marriage or to become a marriage, like have a radar for their marriage. They're going to have to figure
Right.
that out.
Right.
I also think it's wise at some point, and this is going to be really tough, for your daughter to have another confidant other than her mom when it comes to deep marital issues.
Yeah. And I, just to speak to that, she texted me. He's working like 5 hours away, and she texted me out of the blue and said, "Hey, can you watch the baby this weekend?" I'm like, "What? What's going on?" And she said, "Well, I need to go, I need to go see my husband." But she wouldn't say, well, and it's very uncharacteristic for her just at the last minute, "Hey, can you watch him? I got to go." And so I called her, and she was bawling.
Yeah.
And she, so I just kind of walked right into it. It's not, otherwise I don't think she would have told me.
Okay.
She has not told her dad because she's afraid of the repercussions on that side. But, anyway, but I understand where you're coming from. And she has not mentioned anything since about, and I haven't asked, have y'all gotten help? Have y'all seen a guy? I just kind of have backed out.
Are you assuming that she's staying in the marriage?
Yes.
Okay.
It seems to me that they're working on it. They want to get with better help, and he have a counselor and she has a counselor. Actions speak louder than words.
Sure. All day long.
See, we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I believe she's putting forth her best effort to try to work through it.
Okay. Last question before I start walking into it. Have you and your husband dealt with infidelity, of course, across your marriage?
We've been divorced for 12 years. When we were married, no.
Okay.
No, not on my family, my parents. Yes, I have lived through that. So I think that's why it's such a sore subject for me, Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming that they are working this thing out. And that at this point, your daughter has, the one that you feel confident you raised well, is a good young mom, has got a good head on her shoulder, that she has looked at this situation in her life and said, this is a relationship that I want to continue to invest in. Good for her. Okay.
Yeah.
Any sort of trying to get in between her and that decision, it is just an opportunity to drive a wedge into some relationship, and I just don't see any value in it. Okay.
Right. Right.
The second thing is, you said he was sick. Does he struggle with addiction? Why do you say he's sick?
Because the manner in the way this happened and how she found out, it's like basically he contacted a prostitute but didn't have to pay her. I mean, this is not someone he had a emotional connection with or worked with. And I mean, it just came out of the blue from what she understands. And she was saying, Mom, that's sick. That's sick. And I said, yeah, it is. It is sick. He's sick. He needs help.
Okay.
I feel like he's got some alcohol dependency.
Okay.
But that's not me to speak into,
Yeah. If there is addiction issues that are making your daughter and your grandchild unsafe, it is yours to speak into. Okay. So the way I frame this is not by your hand, but in your lap. You didn't cause any of this, but your daughter called you. She brought you into this. And I'm going to keep my grandchild safe. I'm going to keep my daughter safe. And if she chooses to stay with this guy, then I'm going to model what healthy relationships look like. And healthy relationships do not have elephants in rooms. They don't have secrets, and they forgive. And like you mentioned, they set bricks down and they lean in relationally. And so in my head, I'm trying to think through if this is my daughter and this happens with her husband. And she calls me and says, "Will you keep our baby? I got to go deal with my husband." And then I call her and say, "What's wrong?" And she's weeping. And now I'm brought into this thing. Yes, I'm going to be pissed off. I'm going to have to deal with my own issues. That's for me as a grown-up to deal with myself. Right?
Right.
So I'm going to go have my friends in my community. If I got to reach out to a counselor, I'm going to do that myself. But when it comes to the relationship, I would sit down with the young man and say, I got brought into this. So here we are. You hurt my daughter and you violated our trust in our family. You threw a grenade here. And she's choosing to stay, which means you're a part of my life now. And that means I would probably do something symbolic for a young man in this situation, like put it on a brick and put tape on it, like masking tape on it, and write it down. Cheated on my daughter. So he could see it. And say, when she called me that night, I've been carrying this around because it hurt me. I lived through this in my family and all that, right? And then the symbolic, and from this point forward, I'm setting it down. But here's what setting it down is going to look like. You and me are going to have breakfast together. Or you and me are going to, I'm going to lean into this discomfort in the relationship. And I'll tell you, if you tell him, I feel like every time we're in the same room together, there's some awkwardness. I'm the mother-in-law, so I'll own it. But I want to get to know you. And we're going to I want to spend some time with you. So I'm going to reach out and I want to go do Denny's breakfast once a week. Or if they live too far away, then we're going to fill in the blank. But I want him to see he violated this thing, but he's still going to be a part of your life. And so I'm going to lean in on the healing part of it. And then you can do the good parent thing and say, and if you ever hurt my daughter again, right, I'm a person with special skills. They'll never find you, that kind of thing. And you got to wink at him. But I think there's something about if you're interested in healing the relationship, and I get that from you, you're interested in healing this thing. You just don't know what's next. Avoidance never works.
Right.
Secrets destroy families. Unhad conversations destroy families. Now, your daughter could come to you and say, please, God Almighty, do not mention anything to him. Don't talk to him. Don't bring it up. It can't happen. And I would push her on that because she brought you into this.
Yeah.
And she might even say that I'm never going to tell you again. You can say, great.
That's fine.
But you told me about this one.
Yeah.
And if he's going to be in my house and I want to invest in this relationship because it's a part of your life. The sucky thing about boundaries is that other people can use them too.
Right.
Okay. And they can use them to cut you out just as much as you can say, here's how my house is going to look like. I hope that isn't the case here. Hopefully he is really repentant and remorseful and is getting the help that he needs and also can be changed over time by the love of his mother-in-law. Maybe the first time somebody's reached out and loved him, other than not in a romantic way.
Yeah.
But holy smokes, that'll be hard, right?
Man, yeah. Your kids are young. The mama bear doesn't go away when they become adults.
No. There's some great research on women and aggression, and especially with their kids, that like men get the aggression stuff all the time in the popular media, but man. Yeah, mama bear, dude, that's for real. That's for real.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, this has been very helpful.
How does that sound?
Good. I think, just sitting down with them and how you approached it, that, hey, I got brought into this. And like I said, I don't want to guilt him or shame him because I feel like he's living enough of that right now. Yep. He's very remorseful and I don't want to throw darts at him. That would not be helpful at all.
So if you're trying to help somebody not live in shame, the only way to not live in shame is to turn the lights on and have vulnerable relationships.
Yeah.
And what is it? Brene Brown that says shame eats secrets for breakfast. That's what fuels shame. And so we're just not going to do those. And the path to freedom for him is some really uncomfortable conversations with people he hurt. And those people saying, and I see all of you, and I still love you. And I see all of you, and now you got to go to breakfast with me once a week. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
And it may be so awkward. Stay on the line. I'm going to send you all of them. Every pack of conversations with humans cards that we have. I'm going to send you all of them.
That would be awesome.
But here's the deal.
Yeah.
You can use them, and you can say, I got these stupid cards for us to learn how to, not to learn, you don't say anything. Just say, hey, I got these cards, and we're going to go to breakfast until we go through every one of these decks. The ones for work, the ones for couples. It's going to get weird between me and you, right? But I think that would be a great way to get to know this guy.
Yeah.
And
that would be,
he may hurt your daughter again. And you can tell him, you've played your card now. Okay?
Yeah.
The next time you hurt my daughter, the next time you violate our trust, her trust as a family, that you, this is going to be a different conversation that we have. Okay? Or my boundaries will look different. And that's okay to have hard boundaries and accountability and all that kind of stuff. I think that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think she would stay if it happened again. That's why when I talked to her, I explained to her your scenario about the Twin Towers
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know,
They have to do
things can
something
be
totally new.
rebuilt. And
Yeah. And it may be that he's not
and,
working 5 hours from home anymore. But part of that is a new job. And a part of that is new. Everything's got to be different now, and everything's got to be on the table now. They may have to move away and go live somewhere else. Everything's on the table now, right? When you're rebuilding after infidelity, especially in a young marriage with a young kid, everything's different now. And great, good, cool, awesome. The thing you can control in all that is you. And even sitting down with your daughter, I would recommend you sit down with her and have a hard conversation. Let her know that you'll be there for her. Let her know that she needs to get close compadres and friends and community. And you need to have a conversation with this guy and all that moving forward. But whew, that's a tough. I'm just thinking through that, man. My blood boils just thinking about that. And hopefully my daughter's not married for a long, long time. And hopefully she never experiences that. But the data tells me she might. And man, all of us have hard conversations. We have to look in the mirror before we have them and say, well, what's our goal of this conversation and how can we bring about both boundaries and healing? Man, this guy's lucky to have you. It's his mother-in-law. He won the lottery. We'll see you soon. We'll be right back. Hey, what's up? Delony here. I've got a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. I'm always getting calls about burnout, what it is, what to do about it, and just how to live feeling this way. Burnout is when your body has enough and it says, I'm out. I'm done. It's that deep feeling of exhaustion after a long period of being overworked and overstressed and just fried. And most of us associate burnout with work. But burnout can happen at any area of our lives, and it can cause a lack of motivation, irritability, fatigue, or randomly crying at some random song on the radio or when somebody looks at you the wrong way. And that's why I love my friends at BetterHelp. BetterHelp Online Therapy exists to give you the chance to invest in your healing. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with you and your therapist. You never have to even see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's more affordable than in-person therapy. Plus, you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. And today, our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Delony. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/Delony. All right, let's take one more. Let's go to Janelle in Seattle. What's up, Janelle?
Hello, Dr. John. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I guess I have a question. I'll just start out. I feel like my husband and I are never on a team.
Okay.
I want to respect him and his personality, but I can't get past the irresponsibility and the weight he has me carry. And I just don't know how to deal with it. It's been like 8 years and it just seems like we just can't get on the same page. I don't know what to do.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. Like, just before we even dig in, like, that's hard, huh?
Yeah. And we've talked about it, argued about it. Like financially, I've done the Every Dollar app. I have it all done. All he has to do is look at it and tell me where I overspent. And he just doesn't care. And I just don't know what to do about it. I'm like, please tell me like to stop spending or something, just have an opinion. And he just doesn't. So
they
hard.
gave me some notes on this. Jenna gave me some notes. Says that y'all have been through bankruptcy together. Tell me about having to buy a house from your parents.
Yeah. So, when we got married, it was like 3 months after we got married, I got hit with, he told me that he owed like tons of money to the IRS.
How much?
And I didn't, like 70,000.
Okay.
And his mother was doing his books. And so his books weren't very well done, and so we did a refinance on his house. And I really didn't want to do it, but I felt like, well, we're married, so I kind of had to. Then he had a business on his own and found out that his business partner was stealing money from him, like $10,000. And the only reason we found out is because I said, you need to go through the books and make sure everything's done. Then he ended up, he was drinking a lot. And so I felt like I needed to move closer to family. And so after bankruptcy, which I was pretty devastated because I don't, like, that's not how I am.
Tough. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was pretty embarrassing. And then we bought a house from my parents, and it just feels like my whole life is based off of his decisions, and I just feel like I'm constantly coping. You know what I mean?
That you're getting dragged around aimlessly,
right?
And so when y'all have these conversations, he just blows them off.
He gets really defensive.
Yeah.
And he is really extreme. And then he'll say, well, I'll just take over everything and we'll just move, into another state.
Sure.
And, we have kids, so I'm not going to drag them all through this. But so I'm trying to keep it stable, for our children.
So for your kids are getting dragged through it.
Yeah.
There is no protecting them from this. They're absorbing every second of it.
I know. And it's hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I know it's hard.
Yeah.
We'll stay together for them, or my husband's an alcoholic. He cheats on me. He's abusive. He doesn't come home. He's bankrupt us. He's not doing. But the kids,
right?
They can often become a proxy for making hard decisions, or they become an excuse for making hard decisions. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Have you and your husband sat down and talked about divorce, separating out?
There have been conversations. We've gone to marriage counseling, and it seems like it's only if I get upset that I'm taken seriously.
Okay.
He has a great job, and we're financially okay now. I just feel like he still has me carry those bricks, in the backpack.
When you say you've got to carry stuff, what are you?
Oh yeah.
What are you being forced to carry?
The finances.
Okay.
I take care of all of the bills.
Okay. What happens if you say I'm going to stop?
They won't get paid.
Okay. So you are married to a child.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel the words you're using sound much more maternal, like you're his mother?
Yeah.
And whenever and this is a super common thing, so I don't want you to feel like you're out on an island by yourself, but when one or the other spouse takes on more of a parental role, there's a different intimacy there. Nobody wants to sleep with their son, and nobody wants to hook up with their mom, right? So it has a glitch in that relationship, and then that intimacy ripples through right. So it just becomes a domino that falls. Have you, when you've sat down with him before, and I know you've probably had a million conversations, what does he say about, like, I don't want to be your mom anymore?
He gets defensive.
What does that mean? Because that's what children do. They get mad. They spit. They throw things. They kick things.
Yeah, it's pretty much slamming doors, yelling. Just about how he can't do anything right, and
it's a child. It's a child response.
Yeah, I guess so.
It is. It's a grown-up temper tantrum. I'm taking my ball and going home. Fine, we'll just move and we'll never come back. Shut up. Like, right? It's a child.
Yeah.
I need a grown-up to sit down across the table with me and say, are you going to do marriage with me anymore?
Yeah.
Are we going to protect our kids?
Right.
Are we going to ever fix the sexual intimacy issues in our marriage? Are we ever going to have some kind of firm financial footing where we're on the same page and we're on the same team? Right? You see what I'm saying? Like,
right.
That's a different. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to be married to a child. It's really hard to be married to temper tantrums. And my guess is, if he was on the phone with me, he could probably point back to a few places in his life when a child had to take over and start defending him from things.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And that child still playing defense for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that child kept him alive at one point, kept him safe at one point, and now that child is destroying everything around him.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the question is there a way that you can communicate with him? Have you sat down ever and said, I need to, like, normally when I talk to couples in this situation, the conversations, the deep talks always happen during fights.
Yeah.
And it feels like a great moment when finances are secure, he's got a good job, things are okay, to circle back and say, we need to have a couple of hard conversations. I'd like to plan a half day. Would he do that with you?
He would. I think for me, it's the follow-up. You know, like you said you were going to do, like I've asked him, like, can we please go over the finances once a month? Like the beginning of the month, please. And every dollar is already done. You can see where all the money is spent, and we need to go over,
But you see, I would say that's one of the big challenges, because you've made every dollar a math problem.
Yeah.
It's a different conversation to say, I don't feel safe.
Yeah, I've told him that.
I feel completely and totally alone without you. And when you don't participate, I can do the budget. I'm a grown woman. I can pay our bills.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you would rather kick and scream and throw a temper tantrum than help your wife feel safe.
Yeah.
That's a totally different conversation. And if he doesn't respond to that, which some marriage partners don't, oh, get over yourself, it's just a stupid budget.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next response is, I have to make decisions about, do I want to be married to somebody who's not going to participate in my marriage?
Right.
Because really, you feel dragged around, it's the other way around. You're dragging him around. And I think you're tired of carrying somebody in addition to your kids, in addition to your own things. And you're probably, by carrying him, carrying his family around and all that other drama. And you got the shame that you're carrying around about all that. You're tired.
I am. It is. It's tired. And it just seems like there's so much outside drama that it's just.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a lot of this gets put on him. And he's a huge contributor, make no mistake. But my guess is there's a lot of just mess, right? There's just stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think a valuable exercise would be to sit down and say, all right, I'm going to write this stuff down. What is really on me? And you might find out that it's his brother that comes over every Wednesday that always, like whatever, like who knows what all the things are once you start writing them down. But I'm going to write these things down. And you have to come up with your or what statement. And an or what statement is couples who have reached a point where, like, we need to decide if we're going to stay married or not. We're going to have to decide if we're going to keep dating or not. If these things don't change, the or what is, then I'm going to go. Or if you know in your heart and mind, I will never leave. I'm never going to leave. Then the alternative is to make peace with where we are. And there is often a blending of the two. Here's an example in my own home. Okay. I talked about this a little bit on the show. I'm a mess. I have I'm just kind of all over the place. And my wife is very list-makey and very on-timey and very like, things got to be done in this way. And I've tried. I can't operate in the world that way. And I also know that putting my shoes away is a sign to my wife that I love her and value her.
Yeah.
And so here's a compromise. I got home at 4 a.m. the other day. I didn't unpack. I opened up my suitcase, grabbed some underwear out, jumped in the shower, and got in bed and went to sleep. I was exhausted. Okay? You have no idea what it's like trying to sleep on a plane next to Kelly, who's listening to her 80s metal, singing. I'm just kidding. She wasn't singing. But so she walks in at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's a half open suitcase. There's stuff strewn everywhere. She's able to exhale and say, he got in late last night. Her first thought isn't figures. He's acting like a child, stupid baby. Like her first thought is, man, he must be exhausted.
Yeah.
And then when I got up and I stumbled around, got my coffee, went out and did my little weird morning routine, then I could immediately say, what's the best way I can honor my wife right now? I need to get this crap cleaned up. You see what I'm saying? It's about how can I meet your needs and how can I meet my needs? That's how we found some peace in the middle there. It's not either or. In her perfect world, you get home at 4 a.m., you unpack, you put everything where it goes, you start a load of laundry, then you go to bed, right? And then you make up your bed. My perfect day is I'll unpack in a few weeks when I'm leaving in town again, right? So we're going to find peace in the middle. All that happens because I'm committed to meeting her needs and she's committed to meeting mine.
Yeah.
And if you can't have that with a partner, you've got to decide, am I in or am I out?
What are the effects on the kids? Do you know what I mean?
The kids need well parents.
Yeah.
The kids need well parents. And you're not okay. And your husband's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so any sort of pseudo performance to try to make them the reason why this chaos continues. The times for me that we're staying together for the kids works is if we're staying together and we are so committed to making this marriage thing work.
Yeah.
Then 100% figure it out.
Yeah.
But when grenades are going off and there's abuse in the home or there's deception and infidelity and all these things, but we're staying together for the kids are getting a ringside seat as to what marriage and love look like. And they're getting a ringside seat to what a beat down, exhausted mother looks like. And a lying, deceiving, scheming husband looks like. Or somebody who throws temper tantrums. Oh, that's what grown men do when someone holds a mirror up to them. They throw a temper tantrum and they kick and scream and take their ball and go home. That's what they're getting.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a gap and there's the stay together or the divorce. Sometimes Terry Real talks about a 30-day timeout. People are yelling and screaming, 30-day timeout. And he's actually got on his website the rules of a 30-day timeout. I got to get some space, right? And I'm not saying that's the right thing for you guys. I'm saying there's an option between we're all out of here or we're all, right? At some point, your husband's going to have to decide, is he in or is he out?
Yeah. And that's it. It's gotten to the point where we don't even, like, if we argue, it's in our bedroom and there's not a lot of screaming except for like maybe once every 6 months. He might just go off. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I just feel more than anything, like you said, just that beat down. Like,
and that's some of that comes from when you write down your needs. One of the needs will be, you will never yell at me again.
Okay.
You will never scream in this home. You will not raise your voice and kick things in this house. And the moment y'all are in a disagreement, every marriage has disagreements. I had one this morning. Every marriage has disagreements.
Right.
The moment a voice gets raised, you can say, hold on. I will not be talked to like that. I will be back later. And you head out the door.
Yeah.
And he can kick and scream and yell and all. Knock your lights out, brother. I'm not going to be in the presence of this.
Okay.
That's what a boundary is. And for most children, they bang their heads up against boundaries to see if they hold. And if they don't hold, they keep pushing until they find something in their life that holds firm. And so you've probably told them a million times, I'm not doing your bills anymore. And then 5 days later, you're like, I got to pay the bills.
Right? Yeah, there was like one time I said, can you take this to the post office? And it sat in the truck for a month.
And the follow-up is, you always let us, you never do this. I just needed one thing or the other is, when you didn't drop this off, the story I told myself is, you don't care about me. You don't care about the safety of our kids. You don't care about us having running water in our home. That's your behavior's a language, and your behavior told me you don't care.
Yeah.
And it's not me yelling and screaming. That's me saying, hey, here's what your behavior is telling me. And it makes me scared. It makes me sad. And part of my values are, I'm not going to be in relationships that make me scared or sad.
Yeah.
I get to choose that.
Yeah.
And any step forward with a child, if you say, hey, these things, I need you engaged at this level, or I'm I'm not interested in continuing this relationship, 100% expect the only response that he seems to have, which is to act like a child. And, oh, you're going to take my kids away from me? You're going to take my... The same as if you tell your kids, no, you cannot have Fruity Pebbles for dinner again. Oh, you never let us do anything. You're the worst. I hate you. It's a child response. And until your husband decides to address the child who's been protecting him his whole life and to go back and deal with some of that heavy trauma that he's experienced, I almost guarantee he has. And come to terms with being a participant in his home, meaning he's a participant in his family, meaning he's a participant in his own life, meaning he's worth being loved and he's worth loving himself and he's worth healing from some of that nonsense. And let me tell you, it can happen. I've seen it happen. It takes a lot of work, but it can happen. It's hard. It's be incredible. Until he does that, he's going to get back to like a child. And children are really hard to be married to. We made laws and such. So sorry that you're exhausted. I can hear it on you. We'll be thinking about you in your journey. Just try to sit down and decide, here's what I'm worth, here's what my values are, here's what I need in this relationship, and then have a conversation about what that's going to look like moving forward. My hope is that he jumps in, goes all in, says, I hear you this time. Let us know how that half-day retreat goes. I'm fascinated to hear the follow-up. And if he ever wants to, tell him to call me. I'd love to chat with him. We'll be right back. Hey, Delony here. One of the things I love about my job is answering the tough questions people have when they call into the show. Your stories are incredible, and each person's situation is unique. And for years, people from all over the world have been asking if I do private counseling or private coaching sessions for them or for their spouse. And as much as I'd love to, I can't realistically do one-on-one coaching sessions with every single person. It's just not possible. But that's exactly why I wrote my new book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future. Within the pages of this book is exactly what I would say if you and I were sitting down together at a table looking for the next right move for you to make in your relationships or to help you live a more whole and peaceful life. As you read through each section of this book, I will show you how to look and own the roads from your past and head to the new roads of a well life moving forward. Go to johndelony.com to get your copy today. That's Own Your Past, Change Your Future at johndelony.com. All right, as we wrap up today's show, a guy lives down the street here, man. One of the greatest guys I've had a chance to meet is a lovely human being, Brad Paisley. And the song is, I'm Gonna Miss Her. And it goes like this. Well, I love her, but I love to fish. I spend all day out on this lake, and hell is all I catch. Today she met me at the door, said I would have to choose. If I hit that fishing hole today, she'd be packing all her things, and she'd be gone by noon. Well, I'm gonna miss her when I get home, but right now I'm on this lake shore and I'm sitting in the sun. I'm sure it'll hit me when I walk through that door tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna miss her. Oh, looky there, I got a bite. The best songwriters of my generation, Brad Paisley. Awesome. Hey, so glad you're with us. We'll see you soon on the Dr. John Delony Show.